Hi chaps, Simo P here from Beard, Biceps and Batchat. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a review and some gameplay of the new Tier 9 French medium tank, the Batchat 25 APT or TAP. I'm not sure, it's one of those. So this tank just been newly released, I think 2-3 days ago. In this match I've got up to the second package unlocked. Oh no, sorry, only the first package. So I've got the upgraded gun, but not the upgraded engine. So the tank is a little bit sluggish. So it's got a top speed of about 65 kilometers per hour, but with the first engine, it takes a little while to get there. You notice this is, I won't say a big tank, but it's certainly bigger than the AMX 1390. One of the things that I noticed when playing with this tank, I initially tried to play this tank as I did the 1390. That's not really possible to do for a couple of reasons. First one, this is a medium. Now, the difference between a light and a medium that have high top speeds in gameplay actually comes down to the game mechanics itself. So a light tank, when it's moving, will keep the same camo factor as if it was stationary, whereas a medium won't. It's easier to spot, although it's worth pointing out this still does have quite high moving camo statistics, so it's not too bad, but it does make a difference and it does matter. You're not quite as agile as a light tank either, but the sort of benefits of being a medium is you get vertical stabilizers. Now that's a big deal for this tank because the gun handling isn't incredible. None of the tanks really are down the French line. It's mostly a mobile platform for a very good gun that's good at close to sort of medium to close range. So it took me a little bit to sort of get used to how to play this tank. So in this match what I've done is the location I went to, or you just saw me at initially, is one I use if I'm in a fast medium, fast light, and what that allows me to do in that location on G4 I think it is, I can spot all the way onto the sand dunes on the left as well as the sand dunes on the right, so it allows me to get quite early spotting damage. But I got myself in a little bit of a precarious situation because of the on-track event. There's a lot of light tanks going around because everyone is grinding up the French line, so I found myself facing off against one or two of them plus a TD. I thought better to drop out of being detected range, just reload, regroup, and just sort of take stock of the situation, how my team's doing and how we're developing. So we're pushing quite strongly down the A line. We don't have much of a presence down the K line. Now that's problematic because essentially we've given up the entire 1-2 flank, and that's normally quite a hotly contested area. So what I want to do is to just hold up the advance that's going to come down there. So we've got the AMX 1390 on the red team, who is lighting up everything for the tanks that are sitting on the sand dunes for them. So I just want to stop him pushing as much as possible, but I'm being quite cautious about it. Now, like the AMX 1390, this line really comes into their own mid to late game where you can pick on tanks that are stranded. So I want to conserve my HP for that part of the game where I'm going to need it, where I'm going to be doing my circles of death, or at least a circle of death, handbrake turn and throwing shots into the other side of stranded tanks. So I could just stay blast away, but I don't want to take damage. On the flip side, while aiming at this 1390, the gun handling is just, it's not great at this sort of distance. It's not particularly fast shell as well. I think it's got 1,000 meters per second, whereas most tier 9 tanks are at about 1,500, 1,750. So you've got to give tanks quite a lot of lead time, and if you're not ready for it, or you've only played a few games in this tank like I had done at this point, you're just not ready. So I've caught a 1390 a little bit out of sorts. He'd taken out a tank, he'd done his damage, so I'm just going to take him out, get rid of their eyes. So those tanks that are sitting on the sand dunes on K3 can't carry on ploughing damage. They've still got 2 RT left. It sort of just protects our 1-2 flank a little bit, gives them pause so they don't come steamrolling through. We've been quite successful on the AB line. We've managed to hammer through there. Our push there has gone really. But what I've got to weigh up in my head at this point is, am I happy getting spotting damage, or is it hunting time? I'm pretty confident I've still got a couple of tanks in front of me that I need to deal with. So what I'm going to do is use this sand dune on my left to keep me safe from incoming fire, keep them spotted as long as possible. But what I'm actually going to do is to push quite aggressively on the base. I know there's at least 2 arty there and another medium. So what I want to do is try and deal with those mediums, maybe deal with the arties, pick up some easy damage, and just help me progress along, help the team along. And this TVP, he's just going, he's paying no attention to me. I'm throwing shots in. Now I've noticed this quite a lot. It can be a little bit of a pain when tanks are moving quite fast to get shots into them. The way you want to do it is you want to aim at them and take your shot as your turret has stopped moving. If your tank's moving and your turret's moving, it's very difficult to shoot a tank, or at least if they're dodging about. So you want to do it so just your tank's moving, their tank's moving, but your turret's not. Now a little bit more I can achieve with the full health Fatherland. So I've thrown the remaining shots from my clip into him. And what I'm going to do is probably just keep him spotted, get the spotting damage. He can't kill me in one shot. I've got quite a lot of health left. But, you know, I don't want to risk setting on fire. The chance of being set on fire in this tank is about 20%. Well, 20% chance to be set on fire because of your engine. So it's actually quite high. So you'll notice I'm actually running a fire extinguisher rather than the health kit that I usually run. I generally always run one large consumable repair kit, one small one. The large one's to help protect against module damage. The small one is to repair ammo racks and tracks if I get caught in a particularly special situation. The main things I've got to get used to with this tank is just learning when to engage and when not to engage, and just knowing the limitations of this tank. It's not a scout. It's hard to do passive scouting because you only have 380 degrees of view range rather than the 400 of other mediums. So you can do active scouting at the start, but you just can't do passive scouting. You don't have the view range for it unless you have the skills unlocked to do it. Nice little handbrake turn at the end. Obviously knew I was going to record that episode. But overall, really enjoying this tank. I'd love to hear how you guys are getting on with it. We've managed to walk away with about 7k experience there, a few multipliers. I hope you're enjoying the content, chaps. Please like and subscribe to the channel.